you all so nice? This is amazing. So last video, my art fail dumpster fire failing Mark Burnett's tutorial was pretty much me just falling on my face and struggling to do the instructions that Mark Burnett laid out in this video of how to draw faces like a pro level 1 through 3, and I'm very much still level 1. And all of you who watched it in like the first day, I got way more encouraging comments than I would have thought. And I'll be honest, I was a little surprised by how thoughtful and like encouraging all of these comments were. Like, I've got like essays like, Malik, bro, like that's a book. Agency, that's a book. Misty Pen, that's a book. Stiff, that's like a novella, but still a book. And then Jamie treated it like, you know, a Discord chat and had a character limit and gave 3 comments. So that still works. Thanks for that. I'll take the engagement. Thanks for what you said. Like, all of you were like, I don't know, I'm touched. That was sweet. Because again, yeah, it was a little odd to make a video of me like literally sucking, but you guys seemed to like it. And that was kind of fun. And now, guess what? I get to do your tips. So based off of all of your lovely encouragement and advice, I'm gonna be doing 2 things today in this video to see if I can fill in the gaps of what slipped through the cracks last time. So the first one is gonna be from Stiff here. I don't know how much 3D experience you have. Maybe try working/looking into those things. Give a better understanding on how to make a sphere out of a circle. And I'm a little embarrassed. That's an amazing idea. Why didn't I think of that? So for Stiff, what we're gonna do, I already opened up Blender and I got a basic sphere and I hid every plane and face of the sphere that wasn't relevant to this study. And I'm just gonna rotate this and take screenshots and then draw it over traditionally in 2D in Photoshop. And we're going to see if that can help me understand how things rotate. And after that, Malik, there's a lot here, but I'm focusing in on, I also recommend you use the free 3D model Mark showed in his video and just practice from that at the varying angles. Then once you feel like you get the hang of it, try drawing it without the 3D model. Like, again, obviously, Mark even had the 3D model listed as a reference if you got stuck. And, you know, made that little joke of you technically don't need this because you can just use the 3D model. And I didn't even think to use that when I got stuck. So, handy dandy over here, we have our model that Mark included with the video that actually he didn't include it with the video. I had to go find this link on my own, which was a little annoying. I expected better, but regardless, we found it. It's right here. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna rotate it in space and we're gonna see how it fits. And between those 2, what would you call these? Solutions, drills, experiments? We'll see if I can learn. Because that's the goal, right? All right, so let's go back to Blender. Let's start with the Blender one. Okay, so here's our sphere. Here's our center line. This is kind of how I started. This angle here was roughly the equivalent of the angle that I started over here when I felt like I still got it. But then it started to fall apart when I tilted the head up and to the side. So something like this would be, I think, the 3D equivalent of this face down here. Let's take a screenshot of this real quick and then see what we find. Wow, okay, that's pretty humbling. I thought, I was super confident about this subdivision line here. I thought that was fine. It's not. It's not even remotely tilted enough. This line was off, which I didn't even know was off until I used my handy dandy 3D friend. All right, let me duplicate these and see if I trace it and then compare them, if I can like recognize the difference more clearly just without seeing the overlay. Okay, I traced it. So now if I hide the screenshots and compare them side by side, okay, that's interesting to me. I still think that the wrong one looks better, but I have a feeling that it looks better because I didn't change anything about the like face that I drew on there. The incorrectness of the face add-on matches versus here we have a wrong face add-on with a correct sphere. So we're just gonna do sphere to sphere comparisons now because this wasn't entirely helpful. It's kind of like comparing apples to oranges because I didn't change the face at all. If I change the face now to see if I can match it, if we compare that, I wonder what that would look like. Wow, okay, that actually did it. That actually now feels like a comparison. It feels more balanced, it feels more symmetrical. It feels less stylized, which I guess is because it's more technically correct. I still actually like it less. What does that say about me as an artist? I like the wrong one. The wrong one's better. It's like, well, it's not. It's wrong. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's my style. I'm not ready to say that. But still, just the vibe. I like the vibe of this one way more than I like the vibe of this one. Interesting. Let's keep doing more. What would the drill be here? Okay, so we're going to take more screenshots from the sphere in Blender. We're going to trace over it, and then we're going to copy it on our own without tracing, and then we're going to draw it and draw a face over it, and then compare all those faces and see what that looks like. Okay, there's our traced cube. I see that. I see it more clearly in the vertical slice here. This angle, this edge here looks a little bit wonky. I feel like it should be more like this. That looks like it has volume. I don't hate that. Okay, so now the second step is to draw that just from looking at it and see what I run into without any guidance, without any reference, to see if I have any like preconceptions that are stopping me from making it look like that. All right, something I've noticed already is that I'm inclined to call this like accurate, to call this done. And I don't curve the line as hard as I should towards the top of the sphere or the top of the head. So same with this. You see how this line curves back this way more than this one? This one's a little bit more up and down. This one actually curves in. As you get closer to the top of the ball, you're supposed to like curve it more aggressively. And you can see that here in the reference, and even here in Blender, that it curves in really, really sharp here. So you can come all the way down here and it's nice and gentle, but then once you get to the bottom, it really, like, you have to go from here, and if you look at the mouse cursor, almost horizontally over to get to the center. My lines tend to like go straight down, like kind of like stop. They don't actually curve in. So recognizing this, it means that I think I need to make my lines come in more like this, more sharp at the top, instead of shooting off and having it less drastic. Okay, not bad. Not bad. And now if I throw facial features on it, what's that head gonna look like? Because that's ultimately what we're after, right? So what's that gonna look like if I try to throw some eyes here? Okay, you know, it's interesting. I'm drawing this, like, stern, middle-aged man. And I'm wondering if, like, this forehead, this seems awfully large, because it feels like that the hairline should be somewhere in here, and this should be his forehead, right? It goes up here. Not sure. If I get right here, let's duplicate this before we actually like delete stuff. Let's compare side by side and see which one looks better. So for this one, let's do the one that I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just gonna do the one that I think feels right or looks right. Okay, you got a little younger somehow. This one, I completely screwed the top of the head. I didn't stick with it. I just kind of did my own thing, for better or for worse, but it looks that way. I don't hate it. But now let's see what happens if I actually use the top of the head where it says it is, which feels really wrong. But that's what the trace said, that's what 3D said, that's what the circle says, and I'm not gonna doubt it, and we're gonna see what that looks like. I guess if I had to say which one looks more correct, which one looks more proportional, I'd have to say the one where I actually stuck with where the circle told me to go. This one has kind of that, like, DeviantArt vibe. It kind of has that, like, this is my OC vibe. I don't know, something feels off about it. It's like, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. I mean, I do know that I shrunk the head down a lot. It's not as big as it could be. But like something over here feels a little wonky. This feels a little wonky. Granted, this still feels a little bit weird. This whole side of the face, like, curve part here that always looks weird. This guy feels more proportionate in full and like has more like mass. Like, he already feels more real. Even though I don't know how to draw necks, the necks and the connections and all that stuff is like, help me. But this guy feels better. Because of that, I'm going to stick with what the circle says to do instead of going off and doing my own thing. So we're gonna put Blender to bed for now, and to finish up the video, we're going to use the resource that Mark talked about in the video of using the wireframe, and we're gonna do the same thing. I'm going to trace it, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to try to draw a head off of it and see what happens. And same thing with Blender, I have to fill in the gaps here that connect like all this negative space that the wireframe isn't filling up. Like that's the circle. Okay, dang, wow. That looks really cool. That actually, like, that's sick. Based off of this vertical slice here, he just takes the center line and just holds shift and just goes straight down. So you just go here and just go a vertical line straight down once you have your sphere figured out. But before that, just like last time, I'm hunting for my biases. So I'm going to try to draw this from reference now, not tracing it, and see what I naturally want to do and what my kind of bias is to avoid this. Having it like this, where it's a lighter pink in the back and brighter red in the front, really kind of drives home the point I was making earlier about how I feel like I don't correct my angles enough at the top or the bottom, or basically the corners of whatever angle I'm trying to show form in. So seeing this literally as a straight line that cuts off between front of the object and back of the object, seeing this helps me be more intentional when I draw this line down here to really like cut in, to really try to show the change in the turn and the form. Also, having this side plane of the face here, really helpful. I mean, I didn't have that here. You know, like that's where your ear is, right? Like that's where it gets complicated and gets hard. And I like how it forces me to have to think about depth immediately, because this has to go on top of the back of the circle. So this one has to go on top of it like this, and it automatically starts helping me see it. Ah, it's so cool. That's looking a lot fuller already, but I can tell you the thing that I'm already struggling with the most, that I've learned by far that I struggle with and need to pay attention to, need to improve on, is the side planes of the face here. And that they have to, depending on the angle, they are the curve, from a 3/4 angle, they are what you see on the far side of the face, so they make up the edge of the circle here. So the edge of this side plane is the edge of the circle, the edge of this side plane is the edge of the circle on the other side, and they have to rest on this line and connect here. Like, I didn't do a very good job connecting this here, so they really should connect something like here, right? But making that really intentional. Okay, so with that, now let's put some features on it and see what the heads will look like using this instead of the Blender model. And since I know better now that I'm actually gonna stick to the head for the top of the head instead of just kind of going off on my own, I'm not gonna YOLO it. I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna do one of these again. I'm just gonna stick with it and see what head shows itself if I actually like follow the instructions. Now what's interesting is that this is the hairline, right? This is the hairline, which means that this is the hairline all the way up here. But okay, fine, I'll keep it. I said I wasn't gonna YOLO it, but that just seems really high. But if that's the hairline, then fine. You must have a huge forehead. That seems way too big, but I won't doubt it because I learned my lesson. I mean, honestly, not bad. I mean, my biggest takeaway from this is that I really don't think foreheads are as big as they are. And I tend to draw foreheads way too small. No, this isn't perfect. I don't really like this chin. This still feels weird to me. There's still some things to sort out. But by and large, I already feel the gears of progress turning in my head. And a lot of that was also thanks to you, chat. Although I guess it's not Twitch, so what with the YouTube comments? Look at me thinking YouTube comments. That never happens. So hey, thanks for being an awesome community that my YouTube comments aren't literally trash. I really like what I was able to make. I haven't liked this stuff in a while. So thank you for that. But that's all this time. Looking forward to continue learning with all of you, and I will see you next time.